What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I would like to welcome you all to another edition of Wayne's Perspective, where we operate in discipline, decency, integrity, and respect. And I'm coming through with another video just for you. This is another reaction video, another one with Clay Kane. Shout out to him. And Mrs. Reese Colbert. Shout out to her. And this one is going to be talking about Ice Cube from a political standpoint. But before I get into the reaction video, let me talk about Ice Cube for a bit. I'm a longtime fan of Ice Cube, dating back to his NWA days. His contributions to the first NWA album, Straight Outta Compton, classic. America's Most Wanted, classic. Kill at Will, classic. Death Certificate, classic. The Predator, classic. Lethal Injection, very good album. Probably not a classic, but it brings back memories for me. Friday is a classic. So I have respect for the man because of his accomplishments in hip hop, his accomplishments on the big screen, and all things like that. No issues there. Now, on the political end, that's where I differ. And I do remember dating back to the 2020 election when him and some other people were just real anxious to get a seat at the table and break bread with the likes of Donald damn Trump. But then he gets elected, unfortunately, in 2024. And like they're going to touch on in this video, Trump was quote unquote shaking things up. But then when you see how he began to shake things up, that's when shit gets different, right? Okay. So with all that being said, we're going to go ahead and get right into the video. Fair usage for the video, fair usage, because they have some thoughts and I'm going to have some thoughts as well. Let's get to it.
5 years ago, Ice Cube was on the Contract for Black America tour. Remember that? And he had this that made no mention of black women, mind you. And you had some dialogue with him on Roland Martin's show. Then Ice Cube met with Jared Kushner a few weeks before the election, not even the president, for the Platinum Plan. Maybe it was a few weeks, maybe I don't know exactly. It was before the election in 2000.
It was a few weeks, yeah, because I remember I was talking about it on my birthday. Like my birthday is when all this stuff came out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And he was really, about holding your vote hostage. Diddy was saying that too. But now listen to Ice Cube now talking about immigration and what's happening and how cruel it is. Listen to this.
As far as immigration, but to see people like disrespected like that, and federal government just being too heavy-handed and disrespect, going to churches and weddings and grabbing people out of those schools, and it's like, come on, man, y'all just,
because there's a way to do it, right?
Overdoing it. And then the country flip-flops. First it's cool, then it's not, then it's cool, then it's not. It's like, how could somebody even keep up with what's going on? So it's sad, man. I can't wait till this period is over. It's like, I don't know how we're gonna get to the end, but this is just it's crazy to see people dragged out of the spots of refuge,
Now, once it's over, there's gonna be a lot to clean up for the next guy.
Well, yeah, and then like everything is empty. You know what I'm saying? Like, because when you do that to you do that to so-called people who are what they call illegal. And now you get the people who legal don't want to come out because they don't want to deal with your ass either.
Right.
All right, now let me touch on that before they start to cook. One thing that I do agree with him on is the fact that the country flip-flops. On one instance is cool, but then on another instance, or when things get worse, as we've been seeing, that's when they want to say it's a bad thing. So I agree with him on that. Then he said, we can't wait for this period to be over. Well, a lot of us share that same sentiment, and let's keep it clear. The next few years are going to be long, and like the host said, the next person is going to have to come and clean it up. But then again, that's always the case when you get a Republican in office. The Democrat, man or woman, usually has to come in and clean up their mess. But that's a whole nother story. I can always do a separate video on that, but Then again, I might have already done a separate video on that. Check my archives to see if I did another video on that. But continuing on, when it comes to immigration, did Cube or anybody else think that Trump was going to be soft on this shit? I mean, we heard it during the campaign, which was a terrible campaign, mind you. He was serious about that. There was no joking on his end. And anybody else that was saying mass deportation now, y'all saw the signs. They weren't playing with this. So it's no surprise to us who's seeing it coming. And it shouldn't be no surprise to somebody like him. And I don't mean that as a form of disrespect, but he shouldn't be surprised with this. Nobody should have went into this thinking that he was going to be anywhere near close to soft or reasonable on this, because the chaos is the point. The cruelty is the point. Anybody can see that. Let's go.
I want to add this. Louisiana Congressman Cedric Richmond, he called into the Joe Madison show, the late great Joe Madison show on Sirius XM, because Ice Cube was complaining that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden only wanted to talk after the election, right? Because there was
question. They wanted to talk after the election. Let me know in the comments how you feel about that. Do you agree that it was good to do that after the election, or if they should have held those talks before the election of 2020? Y'all let me know in the comments.
Was a call that he was invited on with several other, I guess, prominent celebrities. And he didn't want to be on that call. He wanted that one-on-one talk with either Kamala Harris or Joe Biden. Although
he wanted it with Joe Biden. Kamala was good enough for him.
Oh, Kamala was good enough. Oh, I believe Kamala was going to be on that call. Yeah, he didn't want to be on that. But he took the Jared Kushner meeting. I want to remind people that Congressman Richmond told the late, great Joe Madison on these airwaves.
Then Ice Cube came back and said, well, I talked with the Democrats and they blew me off. Did that happen? What's the real story behind the headlines?
Well, let me be crystal clear. That did not happen. I met with Ice Cube. I mean, we had a Zoom call, so I'm not telling you what other people did. I'm telling you what I did. And Simone Sanders, who's a senior advisor on the campaign, and a few others. So, but we also had an earlier call with D.L. Hughley, Chris Paul, Kenny Smith, Snoop, Jeezy, all of them. And we did the exact same thing. We talked to them about things that they would like to see. We talked to them about our plan, to see what their thoughts were. And we took notes. We changed our plan where we needed to change it. We added stuff if we didn't have it in there. And we did the exact same thing with Ice Cube. Ice Cube has his Black Agenda contract with the Black community. It's a good foundation for a plan. I mean, it's very broad, but what we did was to give him examples of where we are and our plan. So, for example, one of the biggest issues facing African Americans in this country is Black maternal health. He doesn't touch on it. Once you embark on getting into it, one, you have to be truthful, but two, you have an obligation, I think, to see it through and to be thorough with it. And so our plan is very thorough. I won't say he has a skeleton plan, but he has an outline. Of things.
Right.
He has an outline of things that should be done. It's not as comprehensive as our plan. And so that's what we told him. And the offer to stay engaged was not, we'll talk to you after the election. It went like this. Here's my cell number. Anything else you want to talk about on this plan, or anything you think, we need to talk about further, just pick up the phone and call.
All right, let me stop it right there right quick. Now, if any Democratic representative blew Ice Cube off, and I don't think that anybody did, but if that did happen, that's not good, because whether it's Ice Cube or whether it's a constituent that you represent, you shouldn't blow anybody off. That's number one. I wouldn't blow the brother off, not just because I'm a longtime supporter, but I would talk to him and see where he's coming from. That's number one. Number two, when you do that, people like Ice Cube are not going to go away quietly. But what you're doing in a situation like that is you're creating a situation where he's going to freely and easily go to the Republican side and say, okay, they blew me off. Well, let me go ahead and see what the other side's talking about. That's the point right there. You got to pay attention to stuff like that. Because if you blow somebody like him off, no, like I said, he's not going to go away quietly. He's going to go to the other side to see what they're talking about. Even if he wasn't blew off, and again, I don't think that he would still probably go to the other side to see what they're talking about. In theory, there's no issues with that, but also you have to know what you're dealing with when you try to break bread with the likes of Donald Trump. Let's continue.
But Reese, I'll let you take it away on Ice Cube's recent comments around he can't wait for this to be over.
They just get started, boo. Project 2025, they about what, 47%? Yeah, waiting for what to be over. This is the beginning, okay? You know, it's funny that former Congressman Richmond said that, because I remember when I had a conversation, and it was a cordial conversation. Be clear about that. And I said, well, have you engaged? I said, a lot of what you put in the contract for Black America is what is already in legislation that the Congressional Black Caucus has put forward. Like, have you engaged with anybody in the CBC or your senator from your state, Kamala Harris? And he didn't know how to say Kamala's name at the time. So the answer was no, he hadn't done that engagement. So it doesn't surprise me that Congressman Richmond offered and it was crickets. Here's the thing. I really ain't got a huge problem with Ice Cube. He did tell everybody to go to hell after 2 weeks of advocacy because he didn't get the contract for Black America immediately implemented. But I watched The War of the Worlds, which was entertaining. This new movie on Prime, and I've gone to Ice Cube concerts since I cussed him out in 2020. But he is correct. The point is to traumatize people. It is cruel. It's too much. It's heavy-handed, and people haven't consistently condemned it. Now, we could have told it. Like, matter of fact, we did tell y'all that. Like, it was very obvious that this was going to happen.
That's what I said earlier. Everybody saw it. The thing is, either they refused to see it, or like most things when it comes to Trump, they wrote it off as a joke. Oh, he wouldn't do such a thing. He wouldn't go to those lengths. The hell he wouldn't. And we're seeing it in real time.
And I remember very clearly responding to him and breaking down how bullshit the Platinum Plan was, and pointing out that in the area of criminal justice, where he was trying to give Donald Trump credit for it because he had all this crap in the Platinum Plan, he ain't done none of this. And he's been a president for the past 4 years. So how can you give somebody credit for an idea when they've had 4 years to implement any part of it and they haven't done that? In fact, what they've done was increase incarceration penalties and all kinds of things. So he's right there with recognizing the issue, but he's again proving why he never had the depth or the range or capacity to be the one to be at the forefront or the spokesperson for how we tackle these issues. And so at least he's not inserting himself in that way again and trying to be like, well, let me come out with a contract for Black America 2nd edition. He's just saying like, oh, I'm ready for this to be over. Well, buckle up, Cube. Maybe in 2026, you might want to get out there and maybe go to Ohio, try to flip Ohio or whatever.
I doubt Ice Cube is going to do that. Ice Cube is probably going to stay put where he is. I don't see him trying to do anything in terms of increasing the Black vote when it comes to the midterms next year. I'm just not seeing it. If he does do that, I'll be surprised. But as of right now, present day 2025, I don't see that happening.
But I'm not going to hold my breath on that. I'm not going to hold my breath.
Me either.
I do have heat for Ice Cube. I think what Ice Cube did and several other people did, spreading misinformation, reportedly being dishonest, I think it was very dangerous. And I don't know why he has this grand awakening in this moment right here.
Mm-hmm.
Ice Cube was babbling this in 2020 when in Trump's first term, there were children in cages around immigration.
That is true.
Nightmare.
Yeah, you're right.
Creating families, and some
Mm.
kids were never reunited with their families.
Mhm,
Some kids are just literally in
mhm,
the United States. They don't know where their families are.
mm.
I got heat for Ice Cube for that. The
Yeah,
fact that
good point.
Donald Trump in his first term did more federal executions than any
Mm.
president in 120 years, and Ice Cube has spoken out in his own songs about criminal justice. He had a song called with NWA called F the Police.
Yeah.
I got heat for Ice Cube because he inserted himself right before the election, and even after he tapped out. That misinformation around hold your vote hostage, Democrats are doing nothing, all that bullshit, it continued.
And see, right there, let me say this. That hold your vote hostage, see, that's what I'm talking about. Now, I've mentioned this in videos before. Y'all know that I do have political goals and aspirations. And when I'm in office, one of the top things at the list, or should I say the number one thing at the list, is voting rights. So anytime I hear somebody say, hold your vote hostage or withhold your vote or worse, sit out elections, I don't take it personal, but it rubs me the wrong way because the people that came before us didn't fight and died just for us to sit our asses at home. You know, so I don't entertain any thoughts about sitting at home. You're not gonna ever hear me sitting out an election. I always participate, local, state, federal. So if you come at me with the whole notion that I'm gonna hold my vote hostage or this ain't for me, etc., we have nothing to talk about. And don't even get me started on the people who have a lot of things to say, but you didn't vote. You have a lot of political thoughts, but you don't participate. It makes no sense to me. So in that regard, I do get where Clay is coming from with that, and the misinformation part is always essential because you're promoting and saying stuff that's not true to make a point.
Never once said, you know what, I was wrong. Never
Mhm.
once acknowledged the work that his senator did in California.
And let me say this also. Clay mentioned kids being locked up in cages during the first Trump administration. He also mentioned that some of those kids were never reunited with their families. And you want to know why Ice Cube and others didn't say anything about it? And I go back to this again. Nobody of prominence like that is going to say anything because it's not touching them. When something touches them personally and when something touches them financially, that's when they get to talking. Other than that, anything else, no matter how minor or major or big or small, whatever, they're not going to say anything about it because it's not touching them. And that goes back to what I said in a previous video. Our society is so selfish, self-centered. What have you done for me lately? If it's not involving them, their household, their family, their bank accounts, it doesn't matter. We have to stop that.
Yeah,
Knowing that he had access to his senator that that you or I wouldn't have.
true.
He did an Instagram live with her. And then whether it was him or Diddy or anybody else, they insert themselves months before an election. Where were you
Mhm.
during the primaries?
True.
Where were you? You didn't like what Democrats did? Did you speak out when he accused the exonerated five of murder? Like it's so these delayed reactions for humanity is so ridiculous to me. Because at the end of the day, Ice Cube's going to be all right.
Yeah.
He has money, he has fame. So whether it's him, whether it's Snoop, whether it's Nelly, and you willingly either tap dance for him or spread misinformation, then got your ass clown because you went down there and met with Jared Kushner. Your barometer was meeting with Joe Biden. But with Trump, you went for Jared Kushner. I mean, this is the guy who his music in the 90s was damn near revolutionary.
Mm.
Oh yeah, it was revolutionary. It was revolutionary then, and it's still revolutionary today. No question about that. But I agree with everything that Clayton is saying here.
Mm.
And now you're just saying, oh, what's happening? Now maybe it got personal for him. Maybe somebody he was paying got snatched up. Who knows?
Well,
But
he's
you
a
just
Cali
realized,
guy, so it's more personal because it's more pronounced.
well, he should have felt personal in 2016 when children were being abducted and
Yeah,
pulled away
I agree.
from their parents.
Mm-hmm,
So I don't know what gave you your wake up moment, but this is part of the problem.
Yeah.
This is part of the problem that people they should have got it the first time. And if you
Mm-hmm.
cared that much, you should have been everywhere saying this man is a danger to this country.
Yeah.
But instead, you said hold your vote hostage. The contract for Black America. I can recall Alicia Garza told me that she passed on her information. Let's work together. So then I
Yeah.
can't help but wonder, was it ever really sincere?
I offered him as well. I said I will help you as well. I mean, let's be very clear. I'm not giving Ice Cube a pass. I cussed his ass out bad. I was on his ass. 2020. I started out nice, but then when he started with the bullshit, then I got on his ass. So he already got the smoke and he got the heat for me.
That's what Ice Cube said in March. Trump is shaking things up pretty good, I should say, pretty good. You know, it's harmful, you know? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, it was. And I was on Diddy ass too because of his black party. And I'm like, why the fuck don't you guys support black candidates right now? Why are you trying to create an infrastructure? I mean, create a party with no infrastructure, no nothing in the middle of an election year. So I was on their ass too. And you never heard nothing about no black party after Joe Biden won. So I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. And I think that you have to forcefully push back when these people are talking, and you can't let shit slide. And I think that he found out, and that's why he tapped out very quickly. He tapped out very quickly on, let me be involved in politics.
And you know what I wonder though, Reese? Why? I mean, and I'm happy that I guess whenever you find your empathy, you find it. But I wonder why it's the immigration issue that really, I guess, triggered him to say this. And I mean, I don't know what's in his mind, but why wasn't it the record number of black women who lost their jobs? Why wasn't it federal workers being fired when black folks disproportionately work in the federal government? I just wonder why wasn't it something that was really specific to Black Americans, if you will, that didn't trigger
Right, because
him
it was
to
all
do
about the
so?
black contract with Black America. You got a point there.
Yeah, he really was about it. So I mean, you saw that. I mean, some of those early executive orders were just heinous. Why wasn't it restoring Confederate names on naval bases? Like, why was it this moment, but none of the ways that black communities are being threatened and attacked since January? I'm just curious to know because he cares about Black America, according to him.
I think it's very simple. It's very, very simple. All the stuff that you laid out requires policy engagement. It requires data engagement. What we're seeing with the immigration is very visual, and it's even more visual in Los Angeles. And so I'm thinking that seeing with your own two eyes this kind of, heinous conduct, I think people can tap in on something that is very visual. And I think that's unfortunate that it takes that level of abuse for people to say like, oh, this isn't good, but people are visual. And that's what Republicans are good at, to the extent that they use the visuals to create the pretext of bringing in the National Guard, or how they use visuals when they kidnapped and trafficked a bunch of people to CCOT, and they put the guys, they shaved everybody's head. And then so you saw all these bald men, they, like I said, they shaved their heads. So Republicans are good at using imagery to drive their point home. I don't think that they necessarily expected the imagery of immigrants being brutalized and targeted and harassed to resonate with the Ice Cubes of the world, who would otherwise be not engaged, not give a damn about what's going on, except for what's making them money. But generally, they do a better job of that. And so I think that the images were too much to deny, particularly for a local person. Now, maybe somebody in Omaha, it didn't really register to them, but there's no way you could get around it if you're a person in Los Angeles or in California. So I think it's just what people see. It's what people see or what people feel.
Did he see January 6th? I mean,
I don't know if he commented on January 6th. Did he say anything? He probably didn't.
I'm just saying, but to say 4 years later, Trump is shaking things up in a good way. I just don't get it. I'm just disgusted.
Well, he has a short memory. He clearly has a short memory.
And saying something like that, Trump is shaking things up in a good way, a comment like that is going to get people talking, especially when it comes from Ice Cube. But I digress.
And it's whatever's in his face he's reacting to at that time. I'm not making excuses for him, but I do think that he's representative of a lot of people who their attention span is a gnat. which is why Donald Trump got in despite the fact that a million motherfuckers died during COVID, despite the fact that he wrecked the economy the last time he was in office, and everybody was like, oh, well, Trump is going to fix the economy. Now the economy is shit. People have short memories, unfortunately.
Yes, indeed. And Reese was cooking at the end. And again, shout out to her and shout out to Clay Kane. I'm going to make a few more points before I close this video. But regarding Ice Cube, we'll see what things go with him and where he stands, let's say 6, 9, 12 months from now. But I'm not going to be convinced at this point that Cube is going to do anything different regarding this immigration issue. It's probably not going to get any better, but is that going to change him? Only time will tell, and we'll see. Before I do close the video, let me remind y'all again that what we're seeing now and what we're going to continue to see for the next 3.5 years, this is what happens when you, number one, sit out elections, number two, act incredibly selfish, 3, vote in petty and spiteful ways, number 4, dismiss facts, number 5, fail to pay attention, number 6, take things for jokes, and when something touches you, things aren't so funny anymore, number 7, both sides everything, and number 8, rely on voting for the lesser of two evils. Remember that, y'all. Please remember that. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and close the video right here. If you like what you heard and you're ready to become part of Team Discipline, go ahead and hit that like button and drop some comments if you're feeling the content. Let me know your thoughts on this video. And last but not least, hit that subscribe button along with the bell so you're notified when I drop new videos. And until next time, my people, take care of yourselves. And remember, the power of the mind is valuable.